What's up everyone, welcome back. Patrick here, and in this question what we got to do is simplify this big expression here and state restrictions. So notice that this one's a little bit unique compared to the previous ones we did because we are mixing certain operations here. Notice we have a subtraction and we have a division. And whenever you have addition or subtraction mixed with multiplication or division, you got to be careful because now you got to start worrying about BEDMAS, and BEDMAS is going to apply in this case. So if you remember, what do all these letters here stand for? Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So notice that this division we're going to have to do before doing the subtraction. Right, so that's the trick, that's the unique part of this question compared to the previous examples that we did. But other than that, the same general steps are still going to apply. So we're still going to have to factor, number one, then get the restrictions from the factors, and then we're going to simplify. So starting off with the factoring, we got this x plus 4. Now this 2x squared plus x minus 6, what's this going to factor to? Well, 2 times negative 6 gives us negative 12. What two numbers add up to negative 12, or multiply to negative 12, add up to positive 1? It's going to be positive 4 and negative 3. So this would be 2x squared plus 4x minus 3x minus 6. So we decompose that 1x into these two terms. Then we could take out a 2x from both of these, so we'd be left with x plus 2. Then we could take out a negative 3. We got x plus 2. Then we could take out an x plus 2, and we'll have a 2x minus 3. So we would have 2x minus 3, x plus 2 in this denominator. And then from here, applying that same methodology, notice that we could factor both of these. So this 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. 2 times negative 5 gives us negative 10. What two numbers multiply to negative 10, add up to negative 9? It's going to be negative 10 and positive 1. Like that. Notice we could take out a 2x from these two, so we'd have x minus 5. Then notice we could take out a 1 from these two. Then we could take out an x minus 5, so we'd be left with x minus 5 times 2x plus 1. So putting those two factors in the numerator, and then we have x squared minus 3x minus 10. So that there is going to factor into x minus 5, x plus 2, like that. When there's just a 1 in front, basically those two numbers that we usually get for the decomposition, it's going to end up going there, right? So notice that the negative 5 times 2 gives us negative 10, and then negative 5 plus 2 gives us negative 3. And then we're going to divide by this expression, so we'll have 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. So to factor this, 2 times negative 4 gives us negative 8. What two numbers multiply to negative 8, add up to negative 7? It's going to be negative 8 and positive 1. So we'll have 2x squared minus 8x plus 1x minus 4. We could take out a 2x. We could take out a plus 1. So we'll have x minus 4 times 2x plus 1, like that. So this numerator is going to be this. So this would be 2x plus 1 times x minus 4. And then we could factor that denominator as well. We could take out a 3. So we'd be left with that. So notice we took everything and factored it. So there's a lot of factoring to do initially. But now what's nice is we can get the restrictions. So let's go through each of these terms one by one and find out the restrictions from them. So notice here, where should I do these restrictions? Let's do them up here. So notice here, 2x minus 3 cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal positive 3 over 2. That's one restriction. Notice x plus 2 cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal negative 2. That's another restriction. Notice here, x minus 5 cannot equal 0. So x cannot equal positive 5. X plus 2 we took care of over here. That's the same restriction. X cannot equal negative 2. Now, remember when you're dividing by something, you got to get the restriction from the denominator and the numerator, right? So the x minus 4, actually we didn't take care of x minus 4, I thought we did. So x minus 4 cannot equal 0, so x cannot equal positive 4. That's here and here. Both of these are going to cancel out, but it's still a restriction, right? We get the restrictions before simplifying, remember? And we also have to get the restriction from this 2x plus 1. So 2x plus 1 cannot equal 0, so that means x cannot equal negative 1 over 2. Now, if this was multiplying, then this 2x plus 1 wouldn't be a restriction because we can multiply by 0. But because we're dividing, an x value of negative 1 over 2 is going to make this whole thing 0. 0 divided by a number is going to be 0. This whole thing is going to be 0, and we can't divide by 0. So we do have to add that 2x plus 1 as a restriction, right? So just be careful with that. Now to simplify this, remember we're doing BEDMAS, so what we're going to have to do is we're actually going to have to take this and divide it by this first before doing the subtraction. Now when we're dividing, what we do is we actually end up flipping the term and changing it to multiplication. So that's what I'm actually going to do here. So if we do flip it, we would end up with 3x minus 4 and then 2x plus 1 times x minus 4, like that. And now from here, what you want to do is simplify. So remember when we're multiplying, we can cross out any terms that are above each other. So notice the x minus 4 cancel out. The 2x plus 1 cancels out. And then this x minus 5 and then this x minus 5 cancel out. So what we end up with is having x plus 4 over 2x minus 3, x plus 2, minus 3 over x plus 2, like that. Notice over here, nothing was able to cancel out. The x plus 4 wasn't in the denominator, and then we couldn't cross over to here because there's this subtraction over here. We can cross out stuff like this 2x plus 1 if there's a multiplication, but if there's an addition and subtraction, like if this was adding or subtracting, then we wouldn't be able to cross those out. But we would still be able to cross out the x minus 5s and the x minus 4s because they were within the same expression, within the same fraction. All right, so from here, what we do is just subtract these. So we got to get a lowest common denominator. So between these two, notice x plus 2 is common in both, but then we have this 2x minus 3. So we're going to have 2x minus 3 up top, or at the bottom, and then 2x minus 3 up top as well. So if we combine these into 1, we would end up getting this, like that. So the new denominator stays the same. And then from here, what you want to do is you want to simplify. So we would have 1x minus 6x, which gives us negative 5x. And then we'll have 4. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. All over 2x minus 3, x plus 2, like that. We could also take out a negative from here. But other than that, we can't factor that numerator any further. So this ends up being the final answer for this question, and then those are the restrictions. There are 5 restrictions in this case. So just be careful with these sort of questions you get where you're mixing operations. Remember the addition, the multiplication or division comes first before the addition or subtraction. So just follow your BEDMAS, and then the same rules apply. That's the simplified answer. Those are the restrictions.